So for today's video, we're going to talk about forearm tightness. We're going to cover some drills that I do with my clients. Now, with this, you've most likely heard of golfer's elbow or tennis elbow. So medial, meaning inside, medial epicondylitis, which is golfer's elbow, or lateral epicondylitis, which is going to be tennis elbow. So, right, we're talking about the outside part of the elbow here, the inside part of the elbow. So usually it's been overused, your grip, or you've had some type of trauma and now we have nerve pain, right? So it hurts to hold things, or like if you grip something, right, you're either feeling the outside of the elbow or the inside part of the elbow. So for this, it's something that I recommend these stretches with, because what we're trying to do is get the muscles that are causing the compression on those nerves to kind of relax and let go of that. A lot of times this comes with having lifestyle changes also, and figuring out what you're doing day to day that's causing this irritation, right? What are you gripping a lot? I've seen it with people that they run companies where they are just shaking hands all the time, and right, they want a firm grip, and every time they do that, they're agitating that over and over and over again. Or people that grip coffee mugs and it's too tight, and that's where they're feeling it. So we want to navigate around that as well. I definitely recommend, if you do have that, go seek professional help first before you just start delving into this stuff. So make sure you've gone to physical therapist, chiropractor, right? Doctor, if it's really, really bad, I would go see a physical therapist or chiropractor first, as long as they're very, very knowledgeable, more on like the post-rehab or the rehab side of things, right? So first thing that we're going to actually do is we're going to cover a restorative exercise stretch that I do for the forearm. So for most people, forearm stretch, they're doing something like this, right? And it's just not quite enough. So what we want to do here is I'm going to bring my arm up like this, right? And I'm kneeling, you can do this standing. And what we're going to actually do is stretch the individual fingers, the digits here, so that we can get into the individual muscles that control that motor function, right? So if I'm here, I'm going to take my pinky, and I usually put my thumb in the middle of the knuckle, and then I put one or two fingers at the very end of that finger there, so that as I pull down and I'm relaxed in this position, it's going to stretch all the way down through there. So I'm here. I usually like to make sure that this is in alignment, so you won't see my hand this way or that way. It's kind of, if I was looking dead on at a mirror, I wouldn't be able to see my bicep here. So I'm here. As I pull that down, I'm making sure that my hand isn't going down for this. Okay, so holding just like that, making sure that this middle knuckle doesn't bend, right? And I'll hold maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds before I move on to the next one. Then I'll move to the next one, putting that finger there, holding that, pulling down. You will notice a difference between some of these fingers and between either hand. If you're going to do it on one side, might as well do it on the other, right? Another area that I'll see people that work on a computer a lot, right? They're having to mess with the mouse. Is another area that I'll see that people have a lot of tightness. Usually for me, it's going to be my index finger and my middle finger that have the most amount of tension right there, okay? And you'll actually feel this stretch in your hand as well. People often forget that there's just a ton of muscles in the hand, and they end up not stretching that. You want to make sure that you're focusing on that as well. And go to the next one, making sure that's staying back. And you can actually do this here as well. So that is another option, right? But I don't want to move through that. I'm set here just like that, and I'll pull, and then I'll do the individual ones this way, okay? So you have the two options with that. Thumb, a little different. I'm going to show you two different ones. I go thumb to thumb, and then I actually grab here like this, right? So my fingers are hooked onto my forearm, and then my thumb meets my thumb. I hold this in place, and then with this hand, I'm trying to pull away from that. So once I'm here, I'm actually pulling away, and as I'm trying to pull away like that, this thumb's preventing me from doing that, but I'll feel that stretch right through here on that thumb. And same thing, hold 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds. The other one that I do is a little bit different. I actually grab the thumb and I hook it in like this, as tight as I can get it. And this is what Dr. Mike with Medical Exercise, the creator of Medical Exercise, I'm a medical exercise professional, and he created that system. He calls this texting thumb, right? So we're doing this all day, and then this gets really, really tight and agitated over time. But this is a good stretch for that. I hook this in, and I come straight down, and then I can veer off either direction, but typically I'm going to go away from this, and I'm going to feel that come straight down through here, okay? Some people get a little bit through here too, if I come in, so you can try that, but Figure out where you have the most tension. Stick with that, okay? 10, 15, 20 seconds with this as well. Next, you're gonna actually need some type of surface. I just have this here, so I'm not having to transition to standing up. But with this, we're actually gonna use one of the yoga tune-up balls or the lacrosse ball here for just a little bit of soft tissue, right? So as I'm here, I'm literally just gonna rub around a little bit. The cool thing with this is you can scale, right? If I want more tension on this, I can lean over, I can literally put more tension if I want to. I initially just do like a general rubbing around for a second, and then as I kind of figure out, ooh, that's really, really tight. Not necessarily painful. I don't want you to push on top of a nerve. So with this, I usually don't have people go directly to the area that it hurts and just start messing around. The nerve is already agitated. I don't want to add to that agitation. What I do though is I look up and downstream from that to find out where is there a muscle that's maybe creating some pull, right? So I'll move around, and then once I actually find an area, I position myself so that my hand's kind of over the edge of whatever I'm on. I'll hold this in place, and then I'll kind of move the hand around, up and down, side to side, circles, right? One direction, maybe the other direction. If it's painful to go in a circle or side to side, I could just really stick right here. I could even put a weight in my hand so that as I'm pushing on this and I start to, that weight actually brings that down versus me actively trying to pull it down, right? So I can find a couple different spots, pull down through that, go here, pull down through that. And once I find an area, I might do anywhere from like 5 to 10 passes on that, okay? I can do the same thing on the opposite end of the forearm, right? So if I'm here and I can pull up and down, right? And then just find a couple spots where I'm gonna do that. If the lacrosse ball is too intense, you can actually use the yoga tune-up ball because it's a low density versus the high density ball that you can use here. So as I'm pressing on that, I'm not gonna feel as much tension, and I can kind of pull through that, right? So that's another good drill that you can do here. Remember, we're looking up and downstream also. We're not just, so I could actually get in here and roll around a little bit to find some areas that are tight in here. I wouldn't necessarily do the forearm pull at that point. I might, for instance, if it's my tricep, I might just do extensions like this, or get into the wall and do that as well, which I have some other videos covering that. And then now we're gonna go ahead and cut to kind of the last piece that we're gonna do with this, where we're gonna transition to a table, and I'm gonna show you some stretches. Maybe you're at work and you're not gonna just get down and kneel next to this or get on the ground and do these stretches necessarily on the ground. So we'll cut to that right now. All right, so we've transitioned now to a table. Now what I can do here is I can actually put my hand this way, and I can do this with both if I was gonna do both. And I'm essentially here, for some people, that might be enough, right? That might be a ton of tension as far as a stretch is concerned. Ideally though, I should be able to come all the way down like this, right? And from here, I can lean back away from that, get a good stretch. I can kind of lean side to side a little bit as well. I can look at the elbow and make sure that it's not dropping in a ton, right? And that I really have a little bit better of an alignment with this by just making sure that it's not falling this way, that it's actually straight, okay? I can go there as well. I can actually do this off the edge if I wanted to really just put my hands here and push those fingertips down to stretch. You can do this without, and that's where you really see like people trying to do this thing here. I would kind of do that as a last resort. I would rather get on the ground and get that, so I'm not actively trying to necessarily push my fingers back and doing this opposite direction stuff. But that's a good one. And if you don't have like carpal tunnel or anything like that, I would actually recommend going this way as well, going the opposite direction, trying to get that flat, and then from that I'll lean this way and get that stretch through there. A lot of people that are really bad when they go to put their hand, like they can't, it's too intense here. Scale to where you're at. Don't force yourself to go all the way down if it's still really, really tight in there, okay? So do what you can with this, but make sure that you're getting just stretching with it, a little bit of soft tissue work. I recommend doing this at least 2 to 3 times a day, just to make sure things are getting elongated in this forearm so that they're not in a constant contracted state. You have to unwind a lot of this stuff, and it does take a little bit of time to do that so that there's no more compression on the nerve. And like I said earlier, we're looking at patterns that you're doing throughout the day that maybe are actually causing irritation and really just adding to the problem. We need to figure out either a better way to do that, or for a while we need to not do that so that this inflammation around or in the nerve can go away. Okay, so this has been the kind of forearm stretching, soft tissue stuff that I do. These are the bread and butter ones. There's a lot more out there that are far more complicated ones. These are kind of the intro ones that I have people start to toy around with, and then we start actually progressing more towards not only more complex stretches and soft tissue drills, but we start looking at some of the different exercises that we're going to do a couple times throughout the week to strengthen a lot of the muscles that are around that area so this doesn't continue to happen. So if you like this video, hit the like button for me if you want to continue to follow along with all the different stuff that I get into, whether that's supplement reviews, fitness gear, MoveNat home workouts, medical exercise stuff like this video. Please hit the subscribe button for me, and thanks for watching.